Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I hope everybody is doing well today. Inshallah, I will be demonstrating to you guys how to install VS Code. And those of you guys who want to start your journey with programming or coding, we're just going to do some basic here today. Inshallah, I would like you guys to get familiar with some of the code editing framework or code editing tools that are out there. There's so many of them beside, VS Code, but today I will just demonstrate to you guys how to install VS Code and how to use it. And I will also show you guys some of the features that, VS Code has to offer. So inshallah, then moving forward, we'll start with the HTML and CSS, some very fundamental basics of programming languages, because you can't really, code or program until you understand the foundation, right? And I think HTML and CSS is very unique and very, unique in its own way to start with that. And then once you, it shouldn't take you longer than a week or 2 weeks to actually understand HTML and CSS. Then you can try to incorporate with, JavaScript, inshallah. But let's start with this first, right? So what I want you to do is go to your Google browser or any other browser that you use, and you're gonna search VS Code, right? VS Code, VS. Oh, what the heck? Sorry. Either you're gonna search VS Code download, or you can also search Visual Studio, right? Visual Studio Code, right there. Visual Studio Code also. So what you're gonna do is go to the main page, right? So this is what it looks like. You're gonna see this little icon login here with the application. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna download. So it depends what OS you using, like operating machine. But if you're using Windows like myself, you're gonna go download Windows, and it will automatically download. But if you want to download through Linux, I usually use Linux and Windows, but for now I'm using Windows. So you have the option here. You can either download through your Mac, or you can also download through your Linux or Windows. But now what we're doing is we're downloading through Windows. So we're just gonna wait until it downloads. And once it downloads, inshallah, what we're gonna do is set it up, and then after we set it up and everything, eventually, inshallah, I will show you guys and demonstrate to you guys how to use it and some of the features. We're going to look into it. And then, yeah, from there on, we'll begin. All right, so once it's downloaded, so what you're going to do is just click it, and it's going to directly take you to this page. This is very much you agreeing with the license, agreement. You don't really have to, read it, but, you can go through out of your own time, inshallah. So what you're going to do is agree here, and then you say next. And this is our some additional tasks that you can add it, so we don't need it for now. So we're just going to say next, um, next, and then we're going to install, right? So what this does essentially is that, install everything in your actual machine, in your computer. And if you want to get access to this folder later on, you just have to look at the, you know, where this folder or this file will be saved at. So yeah, so now, all right, okay, now it's done. So we're gonna say finish. So it's gonna launch itself here. This is some previous projects that I was working on. So what we're gonna do is just open a new window here, right? So this what you have here. This is how it looks like, because I set it up already my machine a while back ago. However, I'm just gonna show to you guys, sort of go through some of the features here. If you go through File, you will see, is there's a new window, there's a new file, new text file, open a window here. There's also like open a folder, that some of your recent work, you can also see it here. So yani, there's so many things, right? So now it says here you don't have a folder open, so let's not look into that right now. So I'm gonna show you something, a bit of a trick here. So go to the setting here, and then you can click the theme, and then you can go color theme. Essentially, all of this are different colors or different themes, right? Depending on what you're interested in, you can always change the color themes here. So there's that, and there's like lights. I hate that it's so bright. I can't stand this. Yeah, right. So I need something more of a darker, theme. So I like something like this, right? So, and these are just extension that I already have it here. You don't need all of this extension, but I have it because I use it for other projects and for work, right? So you don't need to worry about these. So also here they also have extension, where you can download any sort of extension that you will be using or you're interested to download. But you don't have to worry about this right now because, eventually, inshallah, one day, sooner or later, you will get into this and I will show you guys if there's any necessary, extension that we will need to download. But I think we have everything we need right now. So now what you're gonna do is we're gonna create a folder, right? So to create a folder, either you can create it directly through here or you can create in your machine right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to desktop and then create a new folder, and this folder we're gonna call it HTML, right? And then enter. So now, since we have our folder, remember, it's very important to know where you save to folder because, to locate later on is gonna make it much easier for you. So now that we have the folder saved here, what we're gonna do is go back here, Explorer, or you can even go here to File, and then you're gonna say Open Folder. And then you're gonna go directly where you save your folder, right? So here it is. HTML. I click that and then select. And then now we have the folder open in VS Code, right? So as you can tell, the folder is empty now. So what you want to do is add an HTML file in this folder. Depending on, it all depends on you what you want to call the file. So let's just say, let's call the about me, right? About, let me check this. Okay, go back here. Right? File, gonna call this about me dot. So I want to demonstrate to you guys something. Every time you have you opening a file or you creating a file in VS Code, every time you are required to declare what kind of file this is, right? So whether this file will contain, HTML, excuse me, or CSS or JavaScript, you always have to declare that. Otherwise, you know, it won't work, right? So now if you write whatever you want at the end of it, you put dot, then you're gonna put the language name, right? You're gonna put the language that you will be using. You just have to declare ahead of time. Otherwise, it won't be working. And this is why, with programming, you really have to understand and you always have to declare everything, right? So now I will be using HTML in this case. So I will put dot HTML, right? HTML. And then right there, you might notice that that icon changed, right? So now I declare that I will be using HTML in this file within this folder, right? And then what I will do is just click. Now I have a HTML file, right? Same thing, I want to create a CSS. What I will do is just write a style and is CSS, right? Sorry, CSS. Same thing, enter, right? So I just wanted to explain to you guys what this does, right? So CSS essentially think of, the creativity side of the application. Have you wondered every time you go to a website, you see, very beautiful, very creative, there's so many things that are going on and just catching your eye and stuff like that. Well, that is used for with a language called the CSS. Essentially, it just beautifies everything that you're working with, right? And you will need it because you don't want to have letters and some uh, pretty much you code everything, but there's nothing really unique and outstanding about what you programming, right? So an HTML pretty much is a web-based language, right? And it's significantly important because HTML essentially is the the foundation of a web page, right? This is what it defines the structure, like heading, paragraph and image and everything else that you see in the website. So it's very important. And HTML is, one of those language that is very essential to the application that you're building in, right? Or you build it on. So yeah, now that we know how to save and how to create a file, I will just demonstrate to you guys some basic programming here. So I will do, shift one, because so now you don't necessarily need here everything, but or actually let me just code from scratch so that you guys are aware what's going on here instead of me just, you know, automate it here, right? So what we're gonna do is create our first HTML file. I mean HTML, right? So here, and I will explain it to you guys what this does, right? And then, so what we're gonna do is create something like this, right? And then we're gonna do, sorry, we're gonna do uh, dot HTML, and then we're gonna have the same bracket, and I will talk to you guys about what the bracket does and everything. We don't really need what is provided here, but we're just gonna move forward with whatever else that we want to do, right? So, and then eventually that's gonna be the head. We need the head here. Same thing. We're gonna close that bracket, and then here we're gonna do the title, right? Essentially, you always have to declare of what you we working on, the title of the page. Same thing. You can close it here with a title too, right? So every time you have an opening, you also have to close it, right? I forgot to do with head two here. Right, so same thing here. Uh, you have to close this, right? Okay, and then same thing here. You close it. It's writing automatically for me. I hate this because it's already connected. I just wanna. So this how it's gonna look like, right? And I'm gonna show to you guys what this does, right? So now what you have here is very important to understand because these are very essential in programming. So you might notice that right here, this, right? Dot type HTML. What this does is that essentially this is just telling the browser that this is HTML that we use in here. It's telling the browser this is HTML that we use in here. So this is why it's significantly important every time that you code, you have to declare, not all the time, but in some cases, you have to declare, right? Here, you have to declare. So this is just telling the browser that, hey, this person or this application is HTML and we use in HTML. That's what it does, right? And then you have here HTML, right? The opening here, right? And essentially what this does is that it's just the root of the page, right? The root of the page, and then you have a head here. And essentially, what head does, think of when you're writing an essay like a sandwich, right? So this is just where it will contain all the information with the titles and everything, and you're gonna have a body over here too, right? So body and it comes after head here. You're gonna have a body, sorry, you're gonna have a body here, and then yeah, same thing. You can it's closed, right? Like you need it. So every time that you have, you know, so you see this brackets here in between. These are very important. So every time you declare that you created a head, this is an opening with just two brackets, and then here you might notice the difference. You have this little bracket here and this, slash here, and then same bracket here. So what this does is that essentially this is closing, right? Anytime you have opening with two brackets, you always have to close your code. If you don't close it, your code, it won't really work, and it won't it won't really function the way you want to function. So you always have to remember, every time you have an opening, you also need a closing. Same thing, you have an opening with a title, you have a closing title. You have a body here closing because you already have what, I mean head here closing because you already have what, head here opening. Same thing, body opening, same thing, closing opening. And here you have HTML closing because you already have what? HTML opening. So this essentially what it will look like, right? And then with this, now let's just say that I want to have a title that is called, uh, I want to have it about me, right? I will do about me here, right? That's my title. And then within the body and within the head, this gonna be between what? The head, right? The title. And now with a body here, right? I'm gonna show you guys, with the I wanna have a HTML1. I mean H1, right? So essentially, this is, think of when you're writing a sandwich, you need introduction. I mean, you need the hook, you need introduction, you need the body, and you need explanation, and you need what? Conclusion, right? Essentially, with HTML, it's quite similar to that, right? So now we have what? H1. This is a tag, right? Within this tag, you can provide information, anything, right? And the purpose of this tag essentially is like the main heading, right? From HT1, I mean H1 all the way to H6. There's different levels and a paragraphs that you can follow, right? So now we have H1, and then within H1, you just, talk about whatever you want to add here. So you can say hello world, for example, hello world, right? And then it's already closed here. Now you have that. And then let's just say that you also want to have what? Paragraph over here, right? Within the body. So what you can do is have a, and then write P, right? It's already closed. So you can be like, okay, here within this paragraph, you want to have what? This is, what? This is, this is the first paragraph, right? So let's just say that I want to have this as the first paragraph. That By the way, this is something that you also have to keep in mind. You always have to check it out what's going on with your code. So now we have this, right? So we have this. What I wanted to do is open this like as a live server. So what I will do is, now that's HTML. So this is another thing I forgot to show you guys. You can open with a live server, right? What this does is that it automatically, so this is what we have here, right? This is what we have. We can also have that in our own. Where was it? Where was it? Let's just forget about that right now. So here, this is what you have here. Hello, world. All right. This is what you have. Hello, world. Right. I'm trying to figure out how to open this in here. Right. So that, uh, all right. Let's see. Yep, right there. Right there. So now we have here hello world, right? Hello world. And we have what? This is the first paragraph. You might notice here, hello world, and this is the first paragraph. You see how this is bolded and the letters are big compared to this? And the reason why this is the case, as you might notice here, right? So we have what here? H1, opening and closing. And we have here a paragraph. So essentially think of this like the heading, right? The heading, and this is the paragraph, and you can have closing. So inshallah, this is very much like a basic, and inshallah we're gonna do more next time. But thank you very much for your time, and wish you guys all the best, and stay tuned in. You can follow me, and we'll discuss more about this, and I will be sharing a lot of this type of videos moving forward.